Hi, my name is Greg. I'm an atheist. I post as gklr here on YouTube. I'm making a reply to the first 3 minutes and 12 seconds of Az's response to me in terms of Showdown, and it was a continuation of our dialogue, so we're going to get back into this a little bit. So Az, that's really cool what you're doing about showing absolute truths by trying to ask for them, and so I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't realize that in your videos, and that was pretty neat. We're obviously doing the same thing. I think we're trying to oppose absolute truths. We're just coming at it from a different perspective. You're trying to ask for something that you know that can't be arrived at. I'm trying to show that through necessity, all truths must be systemic. They're not system. They're system-based. They rely on a system first in order to be able to be true. We can't arrive at this truth without having a system to decide whether or not they are. So that's just a different approach, trying to get to the same point. And I didn't realize that. I thought that you had sort of given up on the concept of truth entirely. Talking about, in order to understand what I'm saying, I had to teach you what I'm speaking against. When Wittgenstein was talking this way, don't you think that he meant his entire logical system? Or are you of the opinion that Wittgenstein was opposing absolute truth when he said that, or that in some way that we could take that from any of Wittgenstein's writing? Because I would be very interested to hear what you got to say about that. I don't have all the pronunciations. I've seen a lot of these words only when they're written, so if I'm talking in a way that sounds kind of pedestrian, it's because it is. Okay, on logic only being as good as its justification, yes, that's going to be true for both sides, but my argument is going to be that that's all it's ever going to be. That's all we're ever going to have. In other words, that would also be true if we use Socrates' physics. I mean, if we use Socrates' physics, then we're going to see the world using 4 elements, or maybe 5 elements. I forget what it was. How was it, 4 or 5? Anyway, he only had 4 or 5 elements in his system of science. So surely we're better today. I mean, we don't have the perfect system. We don't have the absolute system. But we have a better system, and by showing that, then hopefully I would think that the pursuit is to get better and better, rather than to say, or what it might sound like you're saying in respect to, where both are dependent on their premises, so they're on equal footing, or they come at, because that would be true also for Socrates' physics versus modern physics. And if that argument was sort of like enough for me to feel that the futility of progress was at hand, then I would really give up. So I don't want to think that way. So you're kind of going against my my internal emotional need here to believe in and stuff like that in the human species, that we're going to progress and we're going to get better and better. So. But yeah, to say that there are no absolutes is an absolute is false, is because there are no absolutes is a statement. A statement requires a language. That is a system. It's systemic. It's not an absolute. It wasn't true when there's no minds. How could it be that language and propositions existed when no minds existed? So at that time, it wasn't a truth statement. There was no statements. So it certainly didn't exist. So it's not eternal. Say that there are no absolute truths is not an absolute truth or a claim of an absolute truth. It itself is a necessary systemic truth. For me, salivating has a specific meaning. I mean, it means like to excrete water from your mouth. It doesn't mean jump, or it doesn't mean run. So yeah. Whether or not you're salivating, I suppose, is something that we are going to go into your justification problems. But the definition, I think, is pretty covered. In other words, this isn't a name. Salivating isn't a name. This came up under names. This is different than a name. But we name an object. I mean, here, I guess we're naming an event. Is that what your point is? I guess that's what you're talking about. Let me just go through this here more and try to get it more about the salivating thing. But yeah, no, that's not a name. That's a defined word. And then you go, no, I don't want more formality. You said that you're really trying to get to the bottom of understanding things and how we understand, how we come to know all these things. And that's a pretty ambitious goal, and I really hope you go down that path. I'm going to be watching you. You asked me as why I make videos in one of our private messages back and forth. And you want to know why my hiatus lasted 3.5 weeks? It's because I couldn't answer that question. It was that one question that was bothering me. It was you, and it was your influence that I respected you. And I wanted to be able to give you an answer that I felt was sensible. So, to make a really long story short, I came to YouTube originally to watch car crashes, not car crashes, car chases and stuff. Just see, I didn't even know this existed. I went to Google and was looking around for car crashes and ended up at YouTube. Didn't think there'd be anything on atheism. Came out onto YouTube. Eventually decided to make some videos, but not for YouTube. As that I wanted to make my videos for my domain, believed.org, which I basically want to say, this is what is believed by people, and have all different beliefs represented, and hopefully show atheism as the superior or the most preferable choice, but leaving it open to showing all different sorts of beliefs. And once I started making videos, I got far more interaction with people at YouTube than anything I would ever have at my domain. So I've lost the inclination to do that. Originally, my videos were much better resolution than this, much better frame rate and stuff. As has been pointed out to me recently, you've gone the opposite direction. You've gone from a shit-ass camera to a really great camera. I've gone from a half-decent camera to a piece of crap. The reason is because I had to convert those files over to MOV files. It took way too long to do. It was way too cumbersome to do. And this one I just point, shoot, save, deliver. It's done. So that's what I like about it. This one takes a little bit of editing. It's not so bad, but I'm no director. I'm not even a movie star. My face doesn't do much for atheism. The people that are going to listen are going to listen. The people that are going to judge you by your face or by your age or something, let them. That's okay too. I know I'm a pretty picky viewer. I don't like watching garbage. If I saw my videos, depends what mood I'm in. If I was for more listening to somebody rant, I'd watch it, but for the most part I wouldn't. I come to YouTube now and I'm watching yes videos, do Close to the Edge. And, the reason that I couldn't answer you is because I was at a crossroads to see that my actual reasons for having been here had changed. That it was to communicate with you guys, not having to do with my old domain, which I've basically forgotten and given up for dead. And with the smallest point that I might try to make on YouTube, I find a lot of resistance. I think you've seen it. So that brings me to mind of your other videos about futility. And knowing it's this futile, why would we?